All praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High. However, Shami Hawashai, Shamraka Kwadash, noble honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Kiam. And this is your brother Abawan back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Shami Hawashai, Shamraka Kwadash. All praises and glory is due. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And this is an article from the BBC, and now you are seeing a lot more of the judgments of the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai go forth in Europe. I recently heard that there was an auto accident and involving like 30 or so, 20 or 30 or so people, getting in a car crash that recently happened in Germany, right? And you are seeing an increase in violence in Europe, right? But that's not the point of this video. And this is it right here. Fresh out the press just a few hours ago, a severe car crash that happened okay, here it is. Dozens injured as driver crashes car into Munich protest. Much later, car ramming suspect is Afghan asylum seeker. 15 injured after car drives into people in Munich, report says. Okay. Car drives into crowds with 28 injured. Afghan asylum seeker arrested. Right, so this latest news that just came out, and this main suspect is basically one of these Ishmaelites that are basically being refugees in Europe. And of course we will see about that, because how Esau operates with these news media, how initially they will say that, oh, the suspect was this individual, but then they now change it eventually once you find out that the suspect was actually a completely different person. So let's see about that. But the main point of this video is actually going into the same thing. It's basically Esau and how he frames his articles and frames his news, and this is an example of that right here. So let's start by getting these precepts. So this is the book of Psalms 94 verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? They gather together themselves together against the soul of the righteous, and condemn the innocent blood. Right, and this is something that is primarily done against Jake. So that's you Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, the scattered Israelites that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Right, and I'm talking about how Esau frames his articles and frames his news. And I'm just using this one as a backdrop and an example, because I can't really find the major ones I want to use which are of Jake. Okay, so this is a situation that just happened recently in Sweden, where Sweden recently had what is being considered the country's deadliest shooting, right? And you see the suspect, which of course is not actually the suspect, but this is the first picture you see under the article, and it's basically showing you, and this isn't somebody that wasn't even a suspect, it's the suspect of the shooting or involved in the shooting, but it's just a witness, right, or a passerby that lived near the area where the shooting took place, and he was interviewed by the BBC. But they have him front and center, right, looking into the camera as though he was involved in some way in this shooting. And this is exactly what Esau does whenever he frames his news. That's why whenever you see hear about a school shooting, right, they always put Jake's faces in front of it, even though it's almost always an Edomite. Because you're looking at this article like this: Sweden searches for answers after country's deadliest shooting, and your first thought is, yeah, that's definitely Esau, right? This is definitely something an Edomite would do, but they put this individual that looks more like a Ishmaelite, right? And of course he is an actual Ishmaelite in frame rather than the actual suspect. And whenever you have an Edomite suspect, they are always protecting his image, and it's always very difficult to find pictures of said Edomite suspects. Case in point, right? One of the recent school shootings that took place, and I believe the one I'm thinking about is the one that happened in Ohio, I believe. I've forgotten the actual name of the town or whatever. The one that happened before. Well, yeah, I think there's in a recent school shooting that happened this year. But in a lot of these school shootings, you usually see that the suspect's face is actually hidden from the media. So you're not really seeing the suspect's face in any of the pictures. In fact, what you will see instead is the face of some of the um, victims that were Jake, right? Israelites that were the victims, right? Either them or their family members, basically, speaking on the injustice that took place. And then you compare that to when Jake is found guilty of any crime. Take for example this new dude, right? That this new dude that looks like a spiritual tear. Henderson, I've forgotten what his full name is. The recent school shooter last year, I believe that was it. That turned out to look like he looked like an Israelite, right? He looked like Jake, but you never know. The spirit could be Esau, and he also did his own school shooting and eventually shot himself as well, right? And his face was plastered all over the media. You have different pictures of him, even pictures of him doing different salutes that are basically considered anti-Sem, and that shows you the difference in the way Esau presents crime when it's done by one of their own people, and how they protect their own criminals compared to the way that they present crime when it's done by Jake. Okay, when you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. So let's read some of this article, and that's why I read that first precept. He frameth mischief by law, right? Because that's exactly what Esau Edom does. That's why starting from the elder apostles on down, we always say there is no justice, there is no law in Esau's kingdom. Okay, that's why the scriptures also say that the law is slack. Let's get that precept. The law is slack and judgment doth never go forth. Habakkuk 1 verse 4. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. And I'll probably anyway, let's continue reading. So yeah, Ishmael Moradi, 16, would normally be carrying his textbooks to school, but on Wednesday he was clutching a bunch of red flowers to lay in tribute to those murdered in Sweden's worst ever mass shooting. I was shocked and didn't know if I wanted to come to school today. After what happened so nearby, he explained to us. Ishmael's own elementary school is next to the adult learning center that was targeted yesterday. Although police still have not gotten a motive for the attack, Ishmael, who is Kurdish, says he fears there was a clear racial element to the shooting. In this school, it's only newcomers to Sweden. There's not so many Swedish people, so I think it was targeted for one special group of people. Right, and you have Esau Edom, right? This growing Edomite nationalism, because that's really what quote unquote white nationalism is. It's growing Edomite nationalism where Esau Edom, right? Revelation 12 verse 12. And let's go and get that. Let's get that. Okay. Revelation 12 verse 12, because Esau is seen as his time is almost up. So now these devils are showing their true colors, right? They're getting desperate and showing their true colors. Revelation 12 verse 12, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And it's not just going to be the elites of Esau Edom showing their horns. Even these low-level Edomites will do the same as well. That's why you are seeing an increase in violence against anybody that is basically non-white, right? Whether it's the heathen, right, or even and especially Jake, you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, the scattered Israelites that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. You are seeing more and more violence being done, right? More and more evil and hatred being shown towards you by Esau Edom because of this rise in quote-unquote white nationalism, which is really Edomite nationalism, and it is empowering Esau Edom to commit all these crimes, right? Ranging from just basically throwing the epithets and racial slurs to active violence like school shootings or just regular shootings, right? Let's continue reading. Swedish police are still investigating the gunman's personal history and have not said the attack, which killed 11 people, was targeted. Helen Warme, A 35-year-old trainee nurse survived the shooting. She and her classmates locked themselves inside their classroom as the shooter prowled the corridors. And of course, they know exactly who the shooter is and his identity, but you can clearly see that they are trying to keep that information hidden. And the reason why is because most likely, man, it's an Edomite, right? Most likely, there's still a chance that it could be somebody else or a person of another nationality, but most likely it's going to be an Edomite because it's shooting like this at this level. It has to be Esau, man. Only Esau is capable of something like this, okay? And that's the reason why you are seeing that. If you no matter how far you look into this article, you're not really seeing any information about who the actual shooter is. So let's get this one right here. What do we know about the Sweden school shooter? Uh, what's all this? No, let me just jump to that. Huh. Now, wow. So it's not even actually opening up for me. Let me try that again. Let me try that again. No. So it's not opening up for me. Right. So let me try and open it in a different tab. Maybe that one will work. Nope. So yeah, it's not opening up for me. But like I was saying, it's most likely an Edomite shooter. And this is what you see whenever Esau is reporting the news when it comes to the crimes that Esau commits versus the crimes that Jake or any other of the heathen, but most especially Jake commits, okay? You see that Esau is, hiding information, not really bringing out any information, going into the actual perpetrator of this crime. But when it comes to Jake, man, even when Jake are just the victims of the crime, you see all that information come out. You know who their parents are, who their family members are, their criminal record, the criminal record of their family members, their whole life history from when they were born to when they were died in a brief summary. Case in point, Jordan Neely, Sonia Massey, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, you know, basically all these jakes, their names have been popularized due to fatal police shootings, right? Which is basically just murders, and yet you have all this information about these jakes, but the actual police officers that did the shooting, how much information do you have on them? You barely even know their names unless you're actually looking up the cases, online and checking the Google and everything. But yeah, these individuals I mentioned, their names, right, their criminal record, their history, even though that doesn't even concern or matter in this situation, but this is how Esau reports the news, and this is all being done in order to keep the agenda being pushed and to deceive the world, right, into believing that Esau Edom is good. That's why the scriptures say that there is no marvel, for even Satan disguised himself as an angel of light. So 2 Corinthians 11 verse 14, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. And that's exactly what Esau Edom does, disguises himself as an angel of light. And this is how he does it through his media, by basically making it as though these devils are not capable of unspeakable evils. And all you need to do to just confirm that is just look at the history of Esau and look at how his history throughout the earth in these past few hundred years. And of course you see that these devils, they are truly the devil which the Bible speaks of. Alright, so let me just end it right there. So with that, once again, all praises, honor and glory unto the Most High, Yahweh Basham Yahweh Basham Kwadash Wa Abad Baba Shalom. And through this read up your cam and your quas were edified. Shalom.